We've been doing pasta all wrong. But don't worry, we got you. So step into my office. Today I'm going to take you guys through a passata recipe, or pasta sauce recipe. So if you look down here, here's all the things that we're going to be using and that we're going to need. A stirring spoon, a slotted spoon, a pot. If you have a stock pot, great. I'm going to be using a ricer, a potato ricer, as opposed to a vegetable mill. If you have a vegetable mill, perfect, use that. Obviously the star of the show are Roma tomatoes, a little bit of a green pepper, our jars, some basil, some extra virgin olive oil, rock salt, strainer, bowl, measuring cup. So with all of that, let's get started. So the way we start, we soak our tomatoes, right, kind of clean them off a little bit. Then what we do is we cut out our little core here. We discard this. And we just cut the tomato in half. And this exposes the inside of the tomato. So if you see something you don't like, you can cut that part out. And it goes right into the pot. By the way, I have about 16 of these. 15, 16, something like that. And we'll show you how much sauce that makes. So again, cut the core out, cut it in half, and I'm just using a paring knife. No super expert cutting skills today, sorry. And if you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all of that, we did our own noodles the other day. So this would pair with that nicely. So just take the core out of all of them, expose the inside, cut them in half, throw them into your pot. The next step to this is our pepper. I'm going green pepper. This is, essentially it's what they use. So, and it's what I'm going to use. You can use red, you can do whatever. So I'm just going to cut here, and I'm going to follow the groove that the pepper gives me. Cut down, and I don't have any seeds in there. So I put that to the side. Now I can just slice this bad boy. And typically this is done by weight, so if I measured the weight of my tomatoes, I would know how much weight of pepper I would want. I'm just going off of quantity at the moment. So you can add, you know, as little or as much as you want. And I'm going to cut it up in half. Get that one seed that stayed behind. And I'm going to put this in our pot with our tomatoes. And by the way, when you start cutting the ends off of the tomatoes, you can smell everything. The tomatoes and this green pepper. I mean, we got these from a farmer's market. And I have to say, I am so super impressed with the quality and the scents that come from it. So now what we do is we add just a little bit of water, because when we start boiling these, we're going to boil them for 20 to 25 minutes, more on like the 25-minute scale, and stir every 5 minutes. But we don't want them to stick to the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of water. So I'm going to get my measuring cup, and I'm probably, for this amount, I'm going to go with maybe 1 cup of water. Once we bring it to a boil, that is when we want to start the 25-minute scale, and we'll start stirring it every 5 minutes. Now I want to make sure the pepper is all mixed up in there. What this is doing is we're using this to draw the water out of the tomato. We don't want the water, we want the juice and everything like that. So we've reached the 5-minute mark. We do a stir. And you can, oh my goodness, you can smell the tomatoes and the pepper. It's amazing. Stir it around, don't play too much. Put the lid back on. 5 minutes from now, we stir it again. While you're waiting, prep your stuff. So this is where the tomatoes are going to go. I have a strainer with a bowl. This is what they are going to get squeezed into. This is the sauce vessel from the tomatoes to them getting pulverized and put into here. That makes our sauce, and it's going to be amazing, and you're going to love it. And it smells amazing already, and it's only been 5 minutes. So we've gotten to our 25-minute mark. So I'm just going to take this lid off. That's what we have. What we're going to do is one final stir. And take this and we put it through our strainer, our colander. We want all of the water out. We don't want any water in what we're doing, which is why we're trying to remove it from the tomatoes. It contains acidity, and we don't want that. So if you can hear how more water is coming out as I'm kind of rotating the colander. All that is what we do not want. So if you have to let it sit for a little while, fine. But we don't want it to cool down too much. So we get all of the water out so that these can be smushed. And then we're going to put them through the ricer and throw them into this lovely bowl here. And then we can transfer them into our own jars. So if you make more, what this is going to be good for you is you can see how much sauce 16 Roma tomatoes makes, right? So what you can do is base your dinners and stuff off of that so that you know how many tomatoes you might need to make your sauce, okay? So we have our slotted spoon, just in case we didn't strain any water out. The water will come out from there. We fill our ricer. I'm going to go about halfway because what's going to happen is the stuff that we don't want in our sauce is going to be left behind in here. And what that's going to do is it's going to need to be cleaned out. So we just come in here. And it can get a little messy. That's why if you have a vegetable mill, that is the preferred method. But this is all the good stuff that we want. We want that. That's going to help make our sauce. That's starting to look like pasta sauce to me. Let's keep going. We don't want that stuff in our sauce. Scoop that out and toss it. Or put it in compost. So, this is a bit messy, but it's kind of fun. And if you have anybody that you kind of want to cover in sauce, have them stand next to you while you do this, because this stuff kind of goes. That's why I said I was going to fill it halfway, and I got a little bit brave with it and decided to put more in there. Don't go past halfway, because it wound up on me, it wound up on the camera lady, and we don't want that. So to minimize the mess, just go halfway. If you have a vegetable mill, use that. It's less messy than this. But this is getting us where we want to go. And I'm going to just move on to like one scoop and see if that, yeah. See, the less we have in there, the more efficient it is and the less mess it makes. So I think we're looking real good. This is the stuff that you don't want. So this is everything that we pulled out of our ricer. It's all the skin and everything like that. Nobody wants that in their sauce. This is our pasta sauce, our passata. And then what we do, take some rock salt or some coarse salt and stir it in while it's still hot. It's going to get absorbed into it. Check you out, dog. You made passata. So we cleaned up some of our mess from the passata going through the ricer, and I have a 12-ounce jar, just so you can see how much it makes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some fresh basil from our herb garden in there, and I'm going to mix this up. And we're just going to start filling our jar. Where's the line? A little bit more. So that, I'm not going to leave that ladle in there because it'll get swallowed. That's 12 ounces. And we still have some left. So, what I want to do, this is going to help it keep a little bit, right? And it's also going to help when we start to cook it, is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil on top, extra virgin olive oil. And the olive oil is lighter than the sauce, so even if we mix this up, the oil will stay on top. And if you wanted to, say, keep this for a lot longer, and you wanted to boil your jar to basically can it, you just throw it in your stock pot or whatever pot you have, boil it for 20 minutes, pull it out, and let it sit, and the lid, it will create a seal. So that is our passata. Should we use it? Let's use it. So let's put this to use. So I'm going to grab my trusty dusty spoon here. Low heat in our skillet there. And look how crazy it is. Oh, the oil was in there first. That's awesome. And then our passata and our basil. Now, we let this get nice and warm. We want it to get hot eventually. Mix it up a little bit. Let it come to temperature slowly, right? Slowly. Because we don't want to splatter everything everywhere. Heavily season your pasta water. Just before al dente, we transfer our pasta into our sauce. If there's a little bit of the pasta water in there, that's fine. We actually kind of want that. That's going to help us out. Now, authentic Italian cuisine, we think of it as like a lot of cream sauce and things like that, but what it really is a little bit of sauce and a lot of the pasta. Our oven is ready for our garlic bread. Just a little bit of our pasta water, if I can actually get some. So just a little bit, that's got starch in it, that's going to help us. So I put some of that in there. And I just kind of start folding everything together. It's only going to really be able to get us part of the way. But the sauce helps your pasta from sticking together. And that water, the pasta water we put in there, is what's going to help thicken this up. And oh man, do I smell that basil. There's only a couple of little pieces in there. So now, what we do is we toss it. So we get the coverage that we want. You can use any kind of pasta you want. It'll work well with your passata. So as you can see, our pasta water has helped thicken everything up with our pasta sauce. I'm going to toss this just a couple more times and I'm going to show you guys a neat trick. Okay, so now I have the proper coverage I want. I'm going to grab a serving. Put it in the bowl. Do it again. Try not to make too much of a mess. Okay. And then have a serving fork in here. We scoop all of it up, we get some more, stab a little bit more, and we twirl it, we twirl it, we twirl it, we twirl it, we twirl it. So that once we get it to where we want it, put it on our plate. Lovely little ball of pasta. This is our parsley. And then, when you're going big or going home, freshly planed Parmesan on there. Tell me who wouldn't want that. So we made our own pasta sauce, and let's give it a try. I'm not gonna lie. That has to be, well, garlic bread. Sorry, we didn't share that process with you. That's my secret. I gotta keep something secret, man. I can't do everything for you. that sauce, you can taste everything, the freshness of the ingredients. And I would imagine if you can it, that it would taste exactly the same way 6 months down the road. I'm proud of that. And you can just taste the basil, the green pepper that was in there. And this is my take on passata. And I really appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and obviously you're watching us on YouTube. So like, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. Helps us out a lot. I want to thank you all for coming into my kitchen, and I'll see you in the next video.